Meow. That's a good one. What's up, Cryptic? Or do I call you Taraxa? I forget. You'll always be cryptic in my heart, just so you know. Part 6. Holy crap, part 6 of Shadows in the Pines. This is it. This is the finale. I'm crazy excited. I've been live recording, mind you, all parts of this limited series horror podcast that I'm calling Shadows in the Pines. It's just to catch you up to speed a little bit. It's a story about, it's a home invasion with a twist. And that twist happens pretty early on. I like to jump to that pretty quick. I have ADHD, I'm pretty sure. I'm one of those guys. This group of 4, college kids, they're about to graduate. They want to just go blow some steam off and just be cool for a little bit and just have a stress-free weekend. So they go find a cabin in the woods, right? Pretty classic. They start getting home invaded. I hate that as a verb. I don't like saying home invaded, but I don't know. You know exactly what I mean when I say it. So that happens, but one of the main characters, Maya, she's pretty damn good at staying one step ahead of the home invaders. And she's also pretty adept at keeping her friends as safe as possible from these attacks. And she's able to kind of predict what's going to happen next from the home invaders. Call me whatever you like, brother. All right, Cryptic. Appreciate you. Big dog. We find out pretty damn early on that Maya used to roll with this same group of home invaders. And she was very good at it, right? But she left the group about 5 years ago. She kind of realized, her eyes were opened to the fact that, hey, what we're doing is not cool. They were literally going into people's houses, killing them, right? Straight up brutal home invasions. And she goes, one day, this is not nice. Now I get the connections to your next. There you go. Yes, sir. Excuse me. I'm going to try not to clear my throat the entire time. She used to roll with these home invaders. And like I said, she was good, but she ran away from them about 5 years ago, hoping to never see them again, hoping to bury that part of her past, but they find her. And now, they either, and it's a coin toss, right? This could go either way. They either want to take her back into the group because she was so damn useful, so good, or they want to kill her. Choice is really hers. Now, at part 6, which is where we are now, this is the finale. Everything's coming to a conclusion during this live stream. And also, by the way, the final produced episodes with the custom music score and the voice actors' dialogue edited in and everything else. Those will start dropping hopefully June, July. I remember when I started part 1, I think I was saying I wanted everything done by March. It's now middle of May. So I don't think a March release is happening. But this is a story about a cabin in the woods during what probably feels like the summertime. So maybe a June, July release makes more sense anyway. If I can pull it off. Alright, guys. Still trying to catch everybody up in case you're new here and you don't want to go rewatch all 5 parts of the live recording at least. Cryptic says, man, how do you make your voice sound so clear? I don't know, dude. It's probably just the lighting in my room or something. I don't... No, I'm just kidding. I'm using... The microphone that I have it's a Neumann TLM 103. It's a good mic. It's a lot of K. What up? Can't miss. This I've been trying to keep up. Well, here we are, dude. Finale time. The story comes to an end. In this stream, Yeah, this microphone it's a cool, man. It's a Neumann TLM 103. It's a lot of people's dream microphone. There's voice actors who work for many, many years saving up money. Taking on any sort of paid work they can get just so that they can afford to upgrade to this mic. And then they're pretty much set for the rest of their life, right? Unless they just become audio nerds and start comparing one mic to another and blah, blah, blah. And then on top of that, I'm probably 6 inches away from the mic, which is pretty standard. That's the jam. Cryptic's he wants to buy the F-Deuce SL40. I gotta look this up, and then I'll start recording. F-Deuce SL40. Oh, cool. Yay. Oh, nice, dude, for sure. Dynamic microphone. Kind of looks like a Shure SM7B. Not bad. Not bad. $55 on Kablamazon. $70 if you get the stand with it. Sweet, dude. Good luck. Can't wait to hear how it sounds on you. Kay says we can't wait for the finished presentation. Me too. Me neither. Oh my god, it's been so slow. I started this project in December, you guys. Holy crap. And here we are in the middle of May, recording part 6. All right, well, I guess with your permission, I'm going to hit record. On part 6, we have 11 pages on this one. So it won't take a very, very long time, but, I will get it done in this stream, and I'd like to, catch up with the chat as often as I can. So bear with me. I may just read a page and check in with everybody. All right. Yeah, Cryptic, it's been that long. I don't think I told anybody, at least publicly, about it in December, because that's when I was just finding writers and talking to producers and stuff to help me kind of get it off the ground. But I think publicly February, I think, is when I started talking about it. I don't know. All right, let's do it. The trip back to the graveyard seemed even longer than the trip away from it. Cool. Not warmed up yet, but we'll get there. The trip back to the graveyard seemed even longer than the trip away from it. Maya and her friends were making good time, but Lena was panting a little as she tried to keep up. She finally stopped, taking off her shoes and proceeding through the grass barefoot. Maya couldn't see it, but she could almost smell the bloody toes that lay against her sock. She had gone further today than she had in her entire life, and Maya was proud of her. She needed her to keep going if she ever meant to make it out. "What do we do when we get there?" Jack had asked her. He was huffing and puffing along, but Jack was on... Cool. Annoying. Sorry, here we go. He was huffing and puffing along, but Jack was on the track team, and he was used to running long distances in preparation for meets. He would go even past what she was capable of, and Maya was glad to have him with her. We find the tomb that we came in through, and we make our way back. "And if the tunnels collapsed?" Jack asked. "Then we grab the heads of those broken shovels and dig our way out." "And if the tunnel collapses?" Jack asked again. "Then I guess it'll be our tomb," Maya said. They kept running. Apparently, this answer was not enough to deter Jack from following her. Lena either, she supposed, and the two kept pace as they kept hoofing it. It was still night, somehow, and Maya couldn't understand how that was possible. It seemed like Connor had left them days ago, but it had actually been less than an hour. They would keep going until dawn, at least at this rate, and when the sign said they were about 8 and when the sign said they had about 8 miles to go till Joppa, they took a rest. Spread about the grass, Jack asked the question that he had been working up to since the start of their run. What comes after we leave here? When we go back home, I mean. Maya had been sitting against a tree, resting up for the last 2 miles, and the question took her by surprise. We go back to school, of course, she said, not even thinking about it. Jack stared at her until she felt uncomfortable. Come on, Maya. We all know better than that. Maya looked away, watching Lena rub her bloodied sock foot. Even at her rubbing, Maya knew she was listening. They both wanted to know what would come after this. Would they pretend that they would go back to life as usual? Or would they follow her into exile? I'll leave, Maya said. And us? Jack asked. And Maya shrugged. You'll have to choose that for yourself. Mine will be a lonely existence, quite likely. But they might leave you alone if I'm not with you. And what if we wanted to come with you? Jack asked. Dang, that's 2 pages already. Yeah, we might fly through this last part, you guys. Hold on, because we're booking. Also, I'm pretty much an open book, so if you've got any questions about, Shadows in the Pines, what it's like to create a limited podcast series, the content on the channel that you're used to, seeing with the Derek Weber glitch stuff, anything you want to know. Within reason. We can chat about that between pages. I'm here to hang out. Maya was touched by this, but only momentarily. I can't imagine why you would, she said. I know now that it's pointless to try for normalcy. The director will never let me live a normal life. I see that now. And if they don't leave us alone, Jack asked, what then? We can't fight them. That much is obvious. We can only die. But maybe, if we're together, then we can all die together, I suppose, Maya said. Jack looked away, clearly not expecting so much pushback. Maya knew that such pushback was needed, however, if she was going to keep them from dying. She needed them to understand that her future was bleak and hopeless, but they still had something to live for. They had families and futures that They had families and futures that she had. What the shit? They had families and futures, and she only had the road. Hers was a life on the run. Why would they choose such a life as that? Why would they choose... Why would they choose her when she could give them nothing but turmoil? We should be on our way, Maya said, getting up and brushing grass from her pants. We still have a ways to go. The 3 of them set out again, pilgrims. Fucking goddamn, dude. Dry as shit. The 3 of them set out again, pilgrims on the road to perdition. As they walked, Maya heard the loud snarl of a bike again, and it made her blood run cold. It was like... Okay, let's see. Let's try this. As they walked, Maya heard the loud snarl of a bike again, and it made her blood run cold. It was like hearing a train whistle in the night when you knew the tracks were miles away. It was the only sound that seemed to exist in the world, and it told her that at least one other thing lived here. Motorcycles did not drive themselves. At least, she didn't think so. If it ran, then someone rode it, and that person could be dangerous. How did all of this come to life, and what's the process? Good question, dude. I pretty much... Couple things. Like, ever since, I guess, puberty, people were like, oh man, your voice sounds, so different, so unique. Like, you sound like a fucking radio guy or TV guy. So, hearing that so often, I ended up going to school for radio and television because I wanted to be a newscaster. Like, that job looked pretty damn good, pretty easy, right? You got to talk about a bunch of shit, but, I mean, you get to be on TV, I get to use my voice in a way that, a whole lot of other people don't get a chance to. So, I knew, like, I was gonna do something with my voice, right? Like, just as long as I, didn't fuck it up. Got a 2-year degree in radio and television. Ended up doing something for work completely different. It's probably for the better. And then I think we cut cable. Stopped watching TV altogether, pretty much, which means I was on YouTube instead, just watching things on YouTube. And I found Let's Read, and I found Corpse Husband, and I just started like consuming all that shit, all that scary story narration stuff. And what really did it for me was I found like it was like a 4-hour long Corpse Husband video that it took me about a week or more to finish. But it was a series that he did, and then I think he just compiled it into one epic, like I said, 4-hour-long video. It was something like I hired a hitman on myself, or something like that, and the story was so good, and like his narration was so good, and I realized, wait a second, this is like a whole-ass audiobook that you can just put on YouTube. So, I kind of modeled that a little bit. If you go way back on my channel, you'll see that I used to do scary stories, but every time I would do a glitch story, those would just always do infinitely better. I guess infinitely better is relative. But I kind of massaged the content and the kinds of stories that I was doing based on what was clear to me that the audience just preferred to hear. Like, I still would love to read scary stories, But it seems that, the audience that's found me, at least for now, just refuses to listen to me read a scary story. So I'm honestly surprised you're here in this live stream listening to me read an actual scary story. It's not my regular content. It is still like voiceover, voice acting, reading you a story kind of a situation. But that's the jam. And then that started, I think, in 2021. So, god dang, hold on a second. That started in May of 21. It's now May of 25. What day in May? Oldest. May 25. Okay, yeah, my very first upload was on May 25. About 11 days from now. Shit, cool. So my 4-year anniversary is in 11 days. I didn't know. Turn my stuff back on. So that's kind of the origin story. What do I mean by limited podcast series? So, you know how like Amazon will put up a series that's just 8 episodes, or it's like a mini series, right? They still keep it on the Amazon service. You can still go back and watch it many years later, but it's just a self-contained story that's, in my case, it's going to be 6 episodes, and every episode is like 20 to 30 minutes for Shadows in the Pines. So that's really what it means. So no, I don't delete it when it's done. I do dream about doing that one day, though, just making something like the same way Markiplier did with Honest Unis. You just make something and then you delete it. And whoever was there for it, during the time, they get to have it and nobody else does. That's pretty special. But no, this will the Shadows in the Pines, even though I'm recording the parts on the Derek Weber channel, this series does not go on the Derek Weber channel. It gets its own dedicated Shadows in the Pines YouTube channel, its own dedicated podcast feed, and then it just sits there for all eternity, or until I can't afford to pay the the podcast fucking hosting service, right? Speaking of, any super chats that come in during these live streams of Shadows, and any poster purchases, which you can buy a poster from the link in the description in this video, all that money goes to basically production costs. So, well, you fucking know what what it costs. I got to pay the artist, and the music guy too. But anyway, Kay says, it's funny, every time you mess up, you say something like, what the shit? It makes me giggle, and sometimes I catch myself saying it out loud. Uh-oh, I'm rubbing off on you, I'm sorry. Cryptic says, I had a similar start. I grew up listening to Mr. Nightmare. Oh, for sure. I didn't find him until later on, which is so weird because everybody that knows that Scary Story narrations exist on the internet, every one of them quotes Mr. Nightmare as their first one. But he just didn't hit my radar until later. And Cryptic says, I wanted to try to do my own work, and hence how I got started. First video was horrible quality. Everybody's first video sucks, dude. Everybody's. Unless you're like a professional creator and this is like your 6th channel, that first video on the 6th channel might not be terrible. Because you've done it so many times. But jeez, dude, yeah. Typically, your first video is always going to be your worst video. If you go back and listen to mine, which is similar to the Corpse Husband Hired a Hitman story. It's not the same one. It's a different vibe. But I think I'm like just speed reading the entire thing. Okay. We got work to do. Let's keep going. That person could be the people they were running from, but she doubted it. The idea that the director could get her here, even here, where what are we doing? The idea that the director could get her here. Okay. The idea that the director could get her here, even here, where so few could reach anyone, was unlikely. But her fear was a deep reservoir that could not be drained. She could believe? Come on now. She could believe that these people, this organization, could reach her no matter where she went or what she did. They chased her as the boogeyman chased children through their dreams. I hate that sound, Lena said, shivering. It's like a creature screaming. It's so odd when there's no other sound, Jack added. I don't like it or trust it. Me either, Maya said, gripping the handle of her knife as she picked up speed. They needed to get there, and it felt like they needed to get there before that strange screaming in the night. And it felt like they needed to get there before that strange screaming in the night. They ran, they puffed, and when the cemetery was in sight, they stopped again and caught their breath. Don't think I know Mr. Nightmare? He's an OG, dude. He is such a pioneer. Everybody that reads scary stories on the internet wants to be Mr. Nightmare. Alright. The sound of the motorcycle had long ago ceased, but that meant very little. It didn't necessarily have to be coming here. It could be some lone survivor heading toward whatever he might be looking for, or really could be some creature rumbling through the dark as it went through its den. She doubted the latter. She knew a motorcycle when she heard one. It would be here, she believed that, and they would need to be ready. They came into the boneyard, Maya with her knife at hand, Jack with his wooden bat at the ready, and Lena with the fire poker that Connor had dropped. They looked like a ragtag bunch of... They looked like a ragtag bunch from some survival horror game. Their cut-off weapons found in the remains of someone's home. She supposed most of them had... Okay. She supposed most of them had, other than her knife. Huh? Okay, got it. She supposed most of them had, other than her knife, and it only added to the apprehension that hung around them as they walked through the cemetery gates. "It's quiet," Lena said. "Quieter than usual," Jack added. They had come past the first mausoleum when Maya heard something slice the air. She dove forward, and when it snarled against the near... Huh? I swear I know the story. She dove forward, and when it snarled against the nearby headstone, she looked and saw the knife that was sticking out of the stone marker. Lena screamed. Jack turned in the direction that it had come from, and Maya crouched as she tried to find the thrower. He had to be close. That knife couldn't have come from more than 20 or 30 feet away. And when she saw him silhouetted against the lightning sky, Maya felt like screaming too. I could do that last line a little better. And when she saw him silhouetted against the lightning sky, Maya felt like screaming too. Standing atop the nearest mausoleum, his executioner's eyes glowing from beneath his hood, was Derek. He was holding something in his left hand, the hand not raised in greeting, and his smile was brilliant. "There you are, my dear. How far you've gone to escape me. All of it in vain. I'll have to tell the director how you traversed dimensions to escape me, and it was all for naught." That thing in his hand, what was that? He was holding it by a rope, or no, by the hair, but it was facing away from them and she couldn't see it in the semi-darkness. "Why have you come, Derek?" she asked, moving ever so slightly as she got ready to dodge another knife. "Why can't you just leave me alone?" Derek laughed. "Well, I couldn't have left you alone without the last of your party. Sadly, he was a big fellow, but don't worry, I brought most of them." He rolled his arm out like someone playing horseshoes, and the thing fell amongst them with a wet, thick sound. It hit the gravel and splatted, and Lena screamed again as the moonlight hit the fleshy ball. It was Connor, or at least his head. Derek had cut it from the neck, sliced it as surgically as he might sliced it as surgically as he might a hand of a finger. Connor's eyes looked terrified, his mouth frozen in an open scream, and when Jack looked up, to yell at Derek, he realized the man was already following his head. He had leapt from the house, and death came down amongst them as he landed, the head between his feet as he rose. He came at them like a lawn mower into dandelions. Whoa, buddy. I forgot. Jesus. I forgot that Derek cut the dude's heads off, man. Holy how did I forget? I read the story. Oh my God. That's crazy. So Derek, he is, and I know, my name's Derek. I didn't put myself in the story, I promise, but like the original guy who helped me write the story, he didn't know my name was Derek, and he just named like one of the main bad guys, Derek. So now it feels a little bit weird, reading the story with this character name, but it is what it is. It's all good. That's nuts. Okay, let's keep going. He had a blade in each hand, and splinters flew as Jack got his bat in the way. Lena fell back, the fire poker sending up sparks as it fell out of her hand, and she cringed away from it. He was trying to bury them quickly, trying to stop them from sneaking up on them while he dealt with Maya, but she wouldn't let that happen. Maya shot out like a spring, and if his turn had been a little slow, she would have stabbed him right in the spine. Derek whirled, keeping Jack and Maya at bay, and as they circled him like sharks, he kept up a steady stream of taunts and edged banter. You might want to thank your friend here. Without him, I would have never found you. He told me just where to go. A true friend, if there ever was one. Maya growled. Maya growled. Lunge again. Okay. Maya growled, lunging in as she slashed at his back, but Derek shot a foot out and caught her in the upper thigh. She barked out a harsh sound and went down on one knee, and that's when he struck. He spun like a viper, slipping his knife up and over the bat as she drove the blade into Jack's shoulder. Jack gasped, a guttural sound full of pain, and Derek pushed him back until his buttocks had a large headstone and his arms came out to a pinwheel helpless. Ha! Buttocks. Ha ha! His buttocks. And his arms came out to pinwheel helplessly. Should I keep it buttocks or butt? I know buttocks is like more proper, obviously. Help me out. If you're listening, if you're lurking, if you're interacting, how do I, what word do I use? Do we say that his butt bumped into the tombstone or his buttocks bumped into the tombstone? Let me know. I will await your response. I don't know how to put up a poll, and they kind of take a long time too, so I'm not going to do that. Damn, big stretch. It is 5:45 in the morning where I am. All right, Kay says butt. we'll go back and do butt. Jack gasped, a guttural sound full of pain, and Derek pushed him back until his butt hit a large headstone and his arms came out to pinwheel helplessly. "The first time you've been stabbed, boy?" Derek asked, bringing the knife up to his throat to stop his frantic hands from lashing out. "Could be the last, too, if you play your cards right. Myself, I was stabbed 24 times before I was 20. Knife wounds, to us, are as common as bug bites, though they do take a little longer to heal," he added with a laugh. Maya tried to make her legs work, to pivot up and go help him, but Derek had caught her just right. The big muscle near the top of her leg was a mass of agony right now, and as she gritted her teeth and tried to power through it, she felt the gravel dig into her jeans and cut the flesh below. Jack looked scared from his perch about 20 feet away, and Maya snarled as she flipped the knife up and prepared to throw it. "I suppose I should put you out of your misery. This was never your fight, and it's unfair to include you. Goodbye, whoever you are." Maya had been about to throw the blade nearly out of her hand when someone came slipping up on Derek's left. Derek was a great cutter, one of the best, but he had gotten a little too into the kill, and it had given him tunnel vision. Lena had left his sight and, apparently, his mind. But when she brought the granite grave marker down on his back, Derek stumbled and shouted as he crashed into Jack. Lena brought it down again, but she was too short to do more than bash him in the shoulders. Jack pushed away, the knife in his shoulder coming with him, and when he shoved Derek away, he turned and Lena crunched against his ribs with the headstone. Maya was struggling to her feet, hearing the soft smush as she broke at least one of his ribs, and then he turned with the knife that he'd had at Jack's throat and pressed it into her chest. He fell right after, cringing against the headstone as it hit against his wounded ribs, and Maya saw Lena look down at the knife that was now protruding from her chest. The shirt she wore was turning red, the fabric slowly drinking her blood, and Maya moaned out her name as the woman's knees unhinged and she fell to the ground like a sack of flour. Jack was massaging his throat as he tried to crawl over to Lena. Maya was hobbling on her injured leg, but she knew she'd never make it in time. The knife had gone in perfectly, and the blade had sunk deep into Lena's heart. "Lena?" Jack rasped. "It's gonna be okay," he assured her. "We'll get you home. You'll... Lena was already dead. Maya could tell by the dip in his voice. "Jack," she gasped, the bundle of muscles still spasming. "Jack, we need to get out of here." "Not yet," he said, rising up and looking for his bat. His eyes settled on the fire poker instead, and he picked it up as he walked toward Derek. Derek lay coughing as he cradled his broken ribs, and Maya was glad to see that a long rope of red spittle hung down his chin. He was grinning at Jack, but it was pretty clear that the mirth had run out of him. "Little bitch," he growled, spitting out a glob of blood. "Pretty sure one of those ribs is in my lung. Never even saw her coming. Stupid. He seemed to notice Jack as he loomed over him, and the grin was downright demonic. "Well then, big man, better kill me now before the adrenaline kicks in. Pretty soon I'll..." But Jack didn't let him finish. He brought the fire poker down on Derek, until he was meat. He battered him to a pulp, swinging again and again, and when he stopped, he was out of breath. His shoulder wound was pouring blood, but he seemed not to notice. Maya stood, wobbling a little as the bruised muscles screamed, and when she tore the sleeve off her shirt, Jack turned toward the noise. "I need to bandage that," she said, hobbling toward him, "before you bleed to death." Jack nodded, still panting like a dog. She bound his shoulder for him. And Jack, still looking at Derek as the vague, human shape that he had been, human shape that he had been did little besides, okay. Dr. Plague is a great writer, but I don't talk the same way he writes, so it's all good. That's a me problem. Jack, still looking at Derek as the vague, human shape that he had been did little besides leak wetly. "I shouldn't have killed him," Jack breathed out, wincing as she tied it tight. "We should have taken him to the police or just left him here. I shouldn't have killed him," he repeated again. "No," Maya said. "You should have. If you hadn't, I would have. He needed killing. If we had taken him with us, he would have bided his time." If we had taken him with us, he would have bided his time until he could get away. Worse still, the police would have released him and then he'd be on the hunt again. With him dead, we might actually make it out of here. Jack looked back at them, the friends who had come all this way with them. "Well, what do we do with them?" Maya shrugged. "Leave them. They'll never deteriorate here. They'll never grow bloated or rotten. They'll be perfectly preserved here forever." Jack nodded, and they went to the mausoleum that they had come in through, their arms about each Jack nodded, and they went to the mausoleum that they had come in through, their arms about each other like drunks at the end of the night. Well, that was crazy. Shit, dude. Okay, we'll look, couple more pages. We're not done yet. But that's wild, dude. Good for Lena. Hell yeah, Lena. Danny Dreadful is the voice of Lena, and she did a really good job. Everybody did so good. I'm so impressed with everybody's dialogue and lines. I have everybody's audio already. I just have to edit it in, like, in place of mine here. But it's so cool that Danny's character was like the one to, not kill Derek, but at least take him down so that somebody else could. Good for her. Dr. Plague does definitely have a unique way of writing. He's a great writer, though. Oh yeah, for sure. We agree on that, man. He also voices Derek. Dr. Plague has his own scary narration channel. And he's good. He's got a bit of a southern twang thing going on, if you know what I mean. Which is nice to hear. Pretty cool thing. And I asked him. I knew he had a narration channel, and he told me, "Hey man, not only can I write this." Once he was done, he was like, "Hey, not only did I just finish writing this for you, but like, I also do voice work. So if you need anybody." And I think before I even asked any of the homies, or the people that I knew online, if they wanted to be any one of these characters, I let Dr. Plague have first pick. I said, "Hey dude, you wrote this whole thing, man." We developed it together, and we kind of guided bits of the story, but the meat of the story is all him. So I said, "Tell you what, dude, if there's any, these characters inside and out. You've been living with them for the past several weeks, months while you wrote the story. If there's any one of these characters that you particularly really want to do, you get first dibs. And he picked Derek. So that's cool. Everyone gets to hear Dr. Plague's voice as Derek. Oh, he's really good. His voice is a unique voice also. Yeah, do you know what he sounds like? Or are you just going off of my southern twang impersonation? It's not. It's not that deep south. All right. I think we have a page or two left, guys. Here we go. The sand ran like water as they worked, and when the tip of the shovel pushed through, they both broke through it into the dusty basement that they had come in through. It seemed like they had passed out of this place years ago, but the sun coming through the windows led Maya to believe that it had probably been less than 12 hours. The digging had been hard. The cave-in had been pretty bad, but they made it. They lay on the ground as they finally came free, panting in a heap as they laughed. They had made it out. They had won. Jack reached for her hand and she let him. Jack had proven himself quite incredible, and she was ready to admit that she might be able to depend on him. She didn't know how far that would take them, but she was ready to find out. I guess that's our next obstacle, he said, looking at the ruined basement steps. Think your shoulder's in good enough shape for me to stand on? Maya asked. Turned out it was, and it turned out that Maya had just enough strength to help him up to the ground floor. The two of them stood there and looked at I almost said the camera. They looked at the camera for a moment, like it's an Office episode, and they just make a funny face at the camera when somebody dies. Womp womp. The two of them stood there and looked at the carnage for a moment. The bodies of the shadows were gone, but the blood and the damage were still there. The police could test it all they wanted, but they would find no information. The organization made sure to expunge all information about their players, and Maya wondered if her own blood was still outside their grasp. I suppose we aren't getting our deposit back, Jack said, and Maya couldn't help but laugh. They had lost people, and they had been changed fundamentally. But the fact that he could still joke at a time like this meant he might not be completely gone. They walked through the cabin, picking up their personal effects as they did. They needed to be gone before someone came out to check on this place, and they needed to leave nothing behind that would tie them to this incident. This was likely something that would become a kind of local legend in time, and they did not want their names assigned to it. Jack found the car keys, but Maya knew they would do no good. Why no? He asked. You'll see, Maya said. You'll see, Maya said. She popped the hood and Jack cursed softly. They had cut the wires. They ruined the hoses and wrecked the engine so completely that it would take an army of mechanics weeks to fix it. The SUV was a complete bust, and Jack was suddenly glad that Connor had been the one to rent it. When it was found, if it was found, they wouldn't come looking for him or Maya. He knew what she intended to do, and Jack thought he might go with her when she did. His dad hadn't called him in weeks, not since he divorced his third wife, and his biological mother was somewhere in North Dakota with a man called Guru Kuthi. Neither of his parents were really the parenting type, but they had been But they had been the paying tuition type, so he had escaped their home as quickly as he could. He hadn't talked to them, either of them, in nearly 6 months, and he wasn't too upset about the idea of never having to hear his father's latest Tinder match. And he wasn't too upset about the idea of never having to hear about his father's latest Tinder match, or his mother's 5,000th spiritual awakening. Guess we're walking, Maya said, looking at the road that ran Slow down, dude. Guess we're walking, Maya said, looking at the road that ran away from the cabin. Guess so, Jack said. And the two of them walked off toward whatever might come next. Oh, that's it. That's the story. That's the end of part 6. Fuck. So Maya and Jack were the only two survivors. Connor didn't trust Maya, so he left the group, only to be found by Derek and, Lena unfortunately passed when Derek, poked her in the chest after she broke his ribs. But shit, dude, Maya got away. I always knew, like, even when I was reading this original story months ago, and I was like proofreading and helping Dr. Plague edit some stuff, there was a time when I didn't want to know how it ended. But I spoiled it for myself, and I read ahead. I remember, damn it, I'm so mad at myself. I remember specifically, like, as Dr. Plague was sending me the drafts and, the chapters and stuff, I was like, when we get to the end, you've done amazing work so far. I don't want to read the last couple of pages or whatever. Maybe that's why I didn't remember that Derek cut Connor's head off, because maybe that's when I stopped reading. That's why I didn't remember it. Oh, cool. I'm less mad now. I'm less mad at myself. I didn't read ahead. I'm remembering that now. That's awesome. Oh, Dr. Plague does a Choose Your Adventure stream? That's cool. That's really fun. I gotta check those out. Alright. And so it was, dude. Maya and Jack are the only survivors. Who knows what happens to the Mustache Man from the organization, right? It's a different group from the Foundation. He goes on to hopefully just continue to watch the woods to make sure nobody fucks with anything, because there's shit in there. The director, played by Joel from Let's Read, he's still out there. Probably, pissed that Derek died, because he gave Derek an ultimatum. Well, maybe he's not. Maybe he's relieved in a sense, because he told Derek, you either find Maya or you don't come back, which means you're dead. You bring Maya back alive, which was kind of the goalposts moved a little bit, and now they wanted her back in alive. Or he dies trying to do that. That was the directive that the director... Is that why they call it a directive? That he gave to Derek, and I guess he carried one of those options out all the way, didn't he? That's cool. Yeah, so you and I just read like the last couple pages together for the first time. I'm remembering this. I forgot. I thought I read ahead, but I didn't, because that's why I didn't remember, Derek cutting Connor's head off. And so on and so on. Kevin. What's up, dude? Okay, says, this is a crazy story. I can't believe I made it through. Can't wait to hear. When will it be out, and where can we find it again? Thank you for asking. When will it be out? Hopefully June, July. I know I've been pushing the release date back a little bit, but now that production is officially done, I have all 6 parts recorded. I got some more editing to do. I've got to get some music from the music guy. But now we're officially, in this moment, we're officially in post-production. We just shifted. So it's not a matter of Man, I hope I can get it out by June or July. Hopefully I don't get sick for a couple weeks and have to delay that even more. Hopefully my computer doesn't break and blah, 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 blah. All that shit's over. Story's recorded. Now I just have to edit it, and then, like I said, get the music from the guy. So I think a July release probably makes the most sense, as long as I can get with him to make sure we're on the same schedule. And where you can find it, it doesn't go on the Derek Weber channel. It will not. It will go on its own dedicated Shadows in the Pines YouTube channel, which doesn't exist yet. And it'll go on its own Shadows in the Pines podcast feed, which again doesn't exist yet. I don't really want to make those until episode 1 is ready to drop, and then I can start promoting the ever-living crap out of this. So that's going to happen. I just want it to live on its own little island. I don't want it to be, of course I'm going to promote it like I said, and I'm going to link to it all the time, and hopefully all the homies that provided voice lines and dialogue for me, hopefully they promote it as well. I'm sure they will. But it doesn't go on anybody's channel. It goes on its own little island. That's it. There's no more Shadows in the Pines live streams, guys. So what's next? I'm doing an audiobook next. So I'll be starting recording that while I'm finishing up post-production on Shadows here. I don't know if I'll be live streaming the recording of the audiobook or not. I got to ask the author and see if she has any thoughts on it. But yeah, you'll hear about that eventually. Cool. Thanks, Kay. I'm going to look out for it, and I'll be at the premiere. I probably will premiere every single episode, because they are, to me, a big deal. And I know nobody gives a shit about it as much as I do. As much as the guy who, made it, right? It's kind of like my baby. But, yeah, I'll premiere all the episodes. And that's it. Ugh, I'm tired. It's 6 in the morning now. All right, guys, I gotta go. Thank you, guys. Seriously, thank you so much for hanging out with me for as long as you did. If you caught every stream up until now, you're amazing. If this is the first one you've ever jumped on, you're amazing. If you're gonna go back and rewatch parts 1 through 5, guess what? You're amazing. All right. Okay, everybody. I'll see you when I see you. Bye-bye. So long. See ya. Adios.